Ready? We are ready in more ways than one. Good evening.
Good evening.
And welcome to another lecture presented by the Tampa class. This is a school and not a church, and we are not affiliated with any religious organization. This school is a nonprofit, non-denominational, religious, and scientific research organization dedicated to showing proof of the existence of Yahweh our Elohim and the operation of His eternal purpose, pattern, and plan operating throughout eternity to this present day. This school was established as the result of a divine vision and revelation given to our founder, Dr. Henry Clifford Kinley, in the state of Ohio in the year 1931. The Tampa class was established in 1996. At this time, I would like to introduce to you the Dean of the school in Tampa, Florida, Dr. Joel Turner, and our President, Dr. Cynthia Smith. Now, in this school, we use the true, correct, and original name and title for the Father, the Word or Son, and the Holy Spirit, which are contained in the original Hebrew text. The true name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh, and it has been improperly substituted by Lord. The true title for the Word or Son is Elohim, and it has been improperly substituted by God. And the name of the Holy Spirit, manifested in or out of a physical body, is Yahshua, and it has been erroneously substituted by Jesus Christ. Now, Lord and God are titles and not names. The Apostle Paul, filled with the Holy Spirit, tells us in 1 Corinthians 8 and 5 that there are Lord's many and God's many. But we now know that each Lord must have a name, and each God must have a name also. Elohim is a title, but unlike Lord and God, Elohim is a divine title, which means that Elohim is the title that our Creator chose for Himself. Now, Jesus is a name, but it is an erroneous name. A minor investigation on your part into any good dictionary or encyclopedia would prove that neither the Hebrew, Greek, nor Latin languages had any characters or letters in their alphabets which would produce the sound made by this letter J. Neither was there J in the English language until some 1400 years after the Messiah's death. Therefore, such names as Jesus, thank you, and Jehovah are simply impossible renderings of the true and original name of our Father and His Son. Christ is a title just like Lord and God. Now, Yahweh is pure spirit, and in this state He is incomprehensible and inscrutable. He is the ultimate source, substance, limits, and bounds of everything. We have Yahweh symbolized on this chart as a cloud. Yahweh is not a cloud. He merely chose a cloud to symbolize Himself because a cloud has no particular shape or form. We've drawn the cloud all around the edges of the chart to show you that everything on the chart is within the cloud. And in like manner, everything in the universe abides within the pure spirit state of Yahweh. Now, Yahweh, knowing that man could not perceive of Him in this pure spirit state, took on shape and form right within Himself as Elohim. This is the Word or Son, a super incorporeal being, that is, having the shape and form of a man, but without flesh and blood. This form could only be seen in divine visions and understood in divine revelations. Later on, the self-same Spirit manifested Himself in a physical body and walked the earth plane as Yahshua the Messiah, whom the world calls Jesus Christ. Now, there is only one name given unto salvation, and we must know that name. So the simple yet intelligent question that we should all ask ourselves is, what was the name of the Savior during the time that He walked the earth plane? And a further understanding of this name and title may be had by reading the preface of a Holy Name Bible. Also in this school, we teach by the divine pattern of the universe. It is called the divine pattern because it is Yahweh, our Creator's pattern. After Yahweh led the children of Israel up out of Egypt, He called Moses to the top of Mount Sinai and showed him the tabernacle pattern in a vision. Yahweh then instructed Moses to build one exactly like it in the wilderness of Sinai. The pattern consists of a most holy place, a holy place, and a court round about. These three compartments make up one tabernacle pattern. In this school, we show proof how that everything in the universe is made and operates according to the structure and function of this threefold tabernacle pattern, and how that absolutely nothing escapes the pattern. This school has 10 primary constitutional aims or objectives. They are as follows. First, to help you find and know Yahweh, our Elohim, as he really is and actually exists. Second is to form a nucleus of universal brotherhood of humanity in Yahshua the Messiah without distinction of race or nationality, creed, sex, caste, or color. Third is to investigate the unexplained spirit law, or so-called law of nature, and the powers latent in man. Fourth is to encourage and promote the study of the scriptures, comparative religions, psychology, philosophy, modern both practical and occult science. Fifth is to extirpate current superstition, skepticism, and ignorance. Sixth is to learn, know, and understand the operation of Yahweh's eternal purpose through the dispensations and ages. Seventh is to discern and avoid being deceived by Lucifer, the serpent, the devil, the dragon, or Satan and his demons, operating the mystery of iniquity on earth through the dispensations of time. Eighth is to earnestly contend for the common salvation and faith which was once delivered unto the sons or children of Yahweh. Ninth is to make known that Yahweh from the beginning ordained there is no other name given among men whereby man can be saved, saving the name of Yahshua the Messiah. And 10th is to inherit eternal life now in the kingdom of Yahshua the Messiah with the hope of immortal glorification in the new earth state. Our watchword is peace, and our slogan is speak the truth. Tonight we'll have a prayer by Dr. Amber O'Brien. We'll have a scripture reading, and that will be 1 John, the 5th chapter, and that will be read by Sherry Williams. And we will have a song right after the prayer by Jennifer Marshall and me, Lisa Zeise.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. If we could all bow our hearts and minds, please, for a moment of prayer. Yahweh, we just want to thank you so much for allowing us to be able to have a place physically to come to continue to learn more about you and your purpose, pattern, and plan, and just allowing the brethren to gather. I think now more than ever, especially I've been ever cognizant of the continuous support and the importance that it is to support one another in this gospel, and what that means and how that translates into life as well. So I'm very appreciative to be able to come here and see all of you, and to be with the brethren and continue to learn more. And I pray that we're all able to put the cares in the world aside when we step into this place, and continue to learn. So with that, I'll say hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Mm-hmm.
Give a lead inside. Blessed be the tie that binds. Just looking up the wrong chords every once in a while. One more time. It's live music. You can't get this anywhere. I have 2 sets of chords. Sorry. We're ready. We're ready. Blessed be the tie that binds our hearts in brotherly love. The fellowship of kindred minds is light to things are one, our comforts and our cares. We share our mutual woes, our mutual burdens bear, and often for each other flows the sympathizing tear. When we asunder part, it gives us inward pain, but we shall still be joined in heart and hope to meet again.
Good evening. I'll be reading out of the King James Version of the Bible this evening, inserting the proper name and title. 1 John, the 5th chapter. Whosoever believeth that Yahshua is the Messiah is born of Yahweh. And everyone that loveth him that begot loveth him also that is begotten of him. By this we know that we love the children of Yahweh when we love Yahweh and keep his commandments. For this is the love of Yahweh, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. For whatsoever is born of Yahweh overcometh the world, and this is the victory that overcometh the world, even our faith. Who is he that overcometh the world, but he that believeth that Yahshua is the Son of Yahweh? This is he that came by water and blood, even Yahshua the Messiah, not by water only, but by water and blood. And it is the Spirit that beareth witness, because the Spirit is truth. For there are three that bear record in heaven, the Father, the Word, and the Holy Spirit, and these three are one. And there are three that bear witness in earth, the Spirit, and the water, and the blood, and these three agree in one. If we receive the witness of men, the witness of Yahweh is greater. For this is the witness of Yahweh, which he hath testified of his Son. He that believeth on the Son of Yahweh hath the witness in himself. He that believeth not Yahweh hath made him a liar, because he believeth not the record that Yahweh gave of his Son. And this is the record that Yahweh hath given to us, eternal life. And this life is in his Son. He that hath the Son hath life, and he that hath not the Son of Yahweh hath not life. These things have I written unto you that believe on the name of the Son of Yahweh, that ye may know that ye have eternal life, and that ye may believe on the name of the Son of Yahweh. And this is the confidence that we have in him, that if we ask anything according to his will, he heareth us. And if we know that he hear us whatsoever we ask, we know that we have the petitions that we desired of him. If any man see his brother sin a sin which is not unto death, he shall ask, and he shall give him life for them that sin not unto death. There is a sin unto death. I do not say that he shall pray for it. All unrighteousness is sin, and there is a sin not unto death. We know that whosoever is born of Yahweh sinneth not, but he that is begotten of Yahweh keepeth himself, and that wicked one toucheth him not. And we know that we are of Yahweh, and the whole world lieth in wickedness. And we know that the Son of Yahweh is come, and hath given us an understanding, that we may know him that is true, and we are in him that is true, even in his Son Yahshua the Messiah. This is the true Elohim and eternal life. Little children, keep yourselves from idols. That was 1 John, the 5th chapter. Hallelujah.
We do encourage questions. If you have any, please hold them till the end of the lecture, and at that time they will be addressed. And also, would you please silence your electronics so they don't make a noise? Thank you. And our first speaker will be a visitor from our Green Bay, Wisconsin class, Dr. Doug Thomas.
Thank you.
You can put it back in your pants pocket too. That's good. I'll clip it on your belt. And this over here.
Okay, I'm ready to go up into space.
That's right.
Well, I'm really glad to be here. I've been wanting to come here for a long time. And I got out here last year and I didn't make it. But I came early this time, so I made sure I get here. I got a lot of stuff on my mind. It's just presenting. That's hard for me. Last night at Zoom, the night before, I was trying to get into something, and I'll try to do it again, I guess. We are so blessed to be able to come down here. You have no idea. I mean, I don't even have the words to tell you. I don't. I was always into trades, and then I got a car sales job, and I remember one night I'm talking with Mike Josephson, and I said, you know, I really like selling and I like people, but I can't handle all the lying all the time. And I'm talking, Chuck did it for a while. People want a good deal on a car, you know, and I get it. And that's just a car. They'll spend more time, more effort than you can even imagine buying a car. But when it comes to eternal life, nothing. You know, they'll accept anything. And Mike told me that he had gone to a class and said that when people lie to you, there's a chemical reaction that will actually happen in your body when someone lies to you. And then we had a little talk after that of who gets lied at the most, a police officer or a car salesman. And I said, well, they can lie to me, it probably don't matter, but they lie to you, it can. And during the scripture reading tonight, that pretty sums up the world and what's going on and the opportunity that you have here each and every time you can commune with Yahshua. And the other thing is that you go through your life learning, or hopefully you do, and you learn how to live, and you learn how to survive, and you learn different things, see? And that's from a physical standpoint. Now, from a spiritual standpoint, you got the same thing going on. The people, when they were down in the desert, and you know, the manna came down, and they had to work with it. You know, they had to beat it down and break it down, and then there's that scripture too where it talks about it tasted like fresh oil. It always reminds me of a Lay's potato chip, you know. But, you know, when we hear this stuff, we have to go get witnesses. And the first time I ever heard that word cogent and had to go look it up, I heard it from Mitch, and to get a cogent witness. So it's a little bit more than just getting a witness, you know. And, you know, me growing up, after I was in this class quite a while, I thought, holy crap, I didn't learn anything. Everything I learned is wrong. Well, it wasn't everything, but I mean, even from a physical standpoint. Yeah. I'm a little kid. I remember in 4th grade, the buzzers would go off, and we had to hide under our desk for nuclear, you know, the Russians were going to get us or whatever. You know, I was a little kid. I don't remember. But later on found out that's pretty stupid. It wouldn't help anyway, you know. But, you know, they're telling you to do this. And then you have all these holidays that go on, whether it be Christmas or Columbus. You know, I found out later he's nothing but a rape and pillager, you know. And the bottom line is a lot of that stuff don't even matter other than the fact that, you know, it's a physical witness to show forth the spiritual witness. And well, I think with that, I'm just going to sit down because I came here to hear some of you guys. But hopefully next time I get up, I'll be more edifying for you. And I do thank you for the opportunity to speak something about Yahshua, because anytime I get a chance to, it's a good thing. It's very good. So I think with that, I'm just going to sit down. So, okay? Thank you. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be a visitor from our Syracuse, New York class. The dean of the class is Dr. Rick Trivison.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I had surgery recently, and this is the first time I've had occasion to get on the floor since then. So they did something to my abdomen, and my vest doesn't fit right anymore. I don't know what they did, but anyway. January was a bad month for us in New York, in Syracuse. It was actually warmer than usual. One of the warmest Januaries on record. But the first 3 Saturdays of January were absolute blizzards. So our lectures were canceled. And we never had a live class until the last week in January. And I couldn't speak, and anyway, I'm happy to be among you today. We could not come down last year. Circumstances didn't permit. I've got a lot of things that we've worked with that we could share with you. I think I have one thing in particular I'd like to talk to you about. I do want to touch on the scripture reading, and I think I just want to touch on Well, read 1, 2, and 3. Just read 1, 2, and 3 for me.
1 John 5 and 1. Whosoever believeth that Yahshua is the Messiah is born of Yahweh.
Is born of Yahweh. You have to believe that. And you just don't believe that on your own. You need help to believe that. The Holy Spirit has to help you believe that. You don't wake up one day and say, I'm going to believe that. I'm going to act good. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Because that lasts about as long as you getting out on the freeway and getting into some idiot cutting you off on the thruway or the expressway. That's how long that promise to be good lasts.
Whosoever believeth that Yahshua is the Messiah is born of Yahweh. And every one that loveth him that begot loveth him also that is begotten of him. Mm-hmm. By this we know that we love the children of Yahweh.
By this we know that we love the children of Yahweh. Now, hopefully, those of us in here are children of Yahweh, are the sons of Yahweh. Read.
When we love Yahweh and keep his commandments.
That we keep his commandments. Now, Israel back here, when they were given the commandments, Moses goes up the mountain the first time, and he receives this 10 commandment law, and he comes down, and Israel says, and it's in the 19th chapter of Exodus, and it's in the 24th chapter of Exodus, and Israel says, all that Yahweh hath said will we do, and be obedient. They make a covenant with Yahweh. They made a covenant with him that day, and they married him. And he was their husband, and they were his bride. But they broke his heart. Because Moses, you see, he comes down, and he's up in there 40 days, 40 nights, and this is all on fire, which is why this is painted this color up here. And they think this guy's been up there 40 days and 40 nights. And he's a goner. He's a goner. Let's fashion a God that will take us where? Back to Egypt. Back to Egypt. Go back. How many times in the law and the prophets did he call them backsliding? Yes. Because they wanted to go back, you see. So they fashioned this golden calf. Where did they get the idea for that? Egypt. In Egypt. There was a goddess down there that was worshipped, and her name was Hathor. Hathor. Look it up, check it out, make sure that we're not making these things up to you. And she was a goddess of many different things, and she was very important in the Egyptian panoply of gods and goddesses. And they had tons of them. Tons of them. And actually, when they get up here into Canaan land, and I'm jumping ahead of this, later on in Samaria, they fashioned 2 golden calves up in Samaria. So they got this golden calf, and this is where they got the idea from. Down here in Egypt. Let us make us a god to bring us back down into Egypt. For this Moses, we don't know what's become of him. Now Moses, make a long story short, he comes down, he sees what's going on, and what happens?
Goes down.
He gets mad, right? And he throws the heart down. Now, the heart that he had, who gave him that heart? Yahweh gave him that heart. So it's Yahweh's heart, and they were married to Yahweh, and he throws that heart down, so that's showing that they broke Yahweh's heart. They broke their husband's heart. They cheated on him. And they continued to cheat on him, and continued to cheat on him, and continued to cheat on him all the time. They were in Canaan land, all down through the prophets. They would be put in captivity. He would have mercy on them. He would bring them out. They'd mess up again. He'd put them back in captivity. Look, you could check all these things. They were in captivity to Babylonians. Israel was in captivity to the Assyrians. They were in captivity to many different peoples. They destroyed the temple, Solomon's temple. They destroyed different things, and they had to be brought back under Zerubbabel and rebuild that temple. And that temple gets destroyed. And the temple at the time of Joshua was the Herodian temple. That was built by Herod. And there was no Ark of the Covenant in it. So atonement couldn't possibly be made. That Herodian temple was giant, was huge, was way bigger than Solomon's temple. Herod was a builder. Check it. He loved to build things. He built that temple, and then in 78, there was a revolt by the Greeks, or by the Israelites, against the Greeks after Alexander the Great. After his death, the Seleucids, named after one of his generals, his empire was split up among 4 of his generals. One of them was Seleucus. The Seleucids controlled Israel. And one of them sacrificed pigs in the most holy place of the temple. And there were people called the Maccabees, which means hammer, that got so upset that they revolted. And they overthrew the Greeks. So later on down the road in the year 70, they said, we're going to do it again. This time against Rome. This time it doesn't work. And Rome I want to get the reference. Let's get it. It's Matthew, the 24th chapter. It's in the first verse. I don't know how I'm off on all this history. I'll get off of this momentarily.
Matthew 24:1. And Joshua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him to show him the buildings of the temple.
Now, his disciples are showing him the buildings of the temple. This is Herod's temple. Herod's temple. Follow? Read.
And Joshua said unto them, See ye not all these things?
See ye not all these things? Read.
Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone.
There shall not be left here one stone. He's telling them. Read.
Upon another.
Upon another.
That shall not be thrown down.
That shall not be thrown down. What happens? The Romans come in there, they destroy Jerusalem, they destroyed Herod's temple, and they threw every stone down, one upon another. And the only thing left was part of the foundation, which is today referred to as the Wailing Wall. That's all that's left of it. That's part of basically what you would call the basement. So everything that Joshua says comes to pass. And all of that transpired. All of that happened. We're saying all this to make a point that Israel could not love Yahweh. They could not obey Yahweh. They could not keep His commandments. They did not. Deuteronomy 5:29.
Deuteronomy 5:29. Oh, that there was such a heart in them.
Oh, who is this speaking, Sharon?
Moses, isn't it, or Yahweh?
Yahweh?
Yahweh.
Yahweh Elohim, read.
Oh, that there were such a heart.
Oh, that there was such a heart in who?
That His children.
Israel. Read.
That they would fear me
That they would fear me
and keep all my commandments.
and keep all my commandments.
Always.
Always. They did not have the heart in them. They did not have the heart in them. As much as they may have wanted to, they could not be obedient. They could not. They knew what they were supposed to do. It was they didn't have the heart to do it. The heart wasn't in them. Now, it gets to the point in and out of captivity, in and out of captivity, and finally he says this is going to necessitate a new covenant. So we're going to get Jeremiah 31:31, and then we're going to go over to Ezekiel 36.
Jeremiah 31:31. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh,
Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh. Elohim. Read.
that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel
I'm going to make a new covenant with the house of Israel
And
with the house of Judah.
not
Not
according to
This little three-letter word is so important. It's not. Read.
not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt.
That in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith Yahweh. Look, how long were they in there before that stone gets thrown down? And they broke his heart. So then Yahweh Elohim tells him, Moses,
But
get
this
a new table of stone, right? Like the first, and bring it up into the mount, and we're going to write laws in there. So whose heart is it this time? It's Moses' heart. This time it's getting put in the man. It's getting put in his heart. It's not Yahweh's heart, it's the man's heart. These are types, these are allegories to show you that in the second covenant, it's going to be written. This is all backwards from how we do it in Syracuse, so I have to get accustomed. It's going to be inward. It's going to be inward. It's not going to be natural. It's not going to be physical. It's not going to be earthly. It's not going to be temporary. So it's going to be permanent. And it's going to be spiritual. And it's going to be inward, not outward. Not with... I need one more reference. I don't know how I'm off in this direction. I don't know. Acts 17. Start reading in 24.
Acts 17.
I know a lot of you are already familiar with these things. We're setting something up. We're laying a foundation. Read.
Acts 17 and 24. Yahweh, who made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is ruler of heaven and earth, he dwelleth not in temples made with hands.
So now, this is Paul, right? He's on Mars Hill, or Areopagus, okay, to the Greeks. And he's telling these people up there, Yahweh, the one whom you ignorantly worship, dwelleth not
In temples made with hands.
in temples made with hands. See, the Acropolis was up there and all these different temples. See, I studied them in art history. There were all these temples at the top of this hill up there, the Acropolis, to gods and goddesses. And they put one up there saying, to the unknown God. Paul says, that's the one I want to talk to you about. And this is what he's telling them. Read.
Neither is worship with men's hands.
He's not worshiped with your hands. And I don't care how much you want to and how much you think it's right. You cannot worship him physically or with your hands. Not in this covenant. Why? Because it's not like one that he made with their fathers. Now, you don't have to believe me. We're coming right out of the book with this. Read, please.
Neither is worship with men's hands as though he needed anything, seeing he giveth to all life and breath and all things.
Thank you.
And had made of one blood all
That's
nations.
good. That's good. I want to get over to Ezekiel there, please.
Ezekiel 36 and 24.
Yes.
For I will take you from among the heathen.
Now this is Yahweh Elohim, and he's speaking to Israel here. Read.
And gather you out of all countries.
I will gather you out of all countries. Look, aren't we gathered from all countries in here? I mean all countries. All races, all colors, all religions, Episcopalianism, Islam, Christianity, Roman Catholic, Protestant. What?
Adventist.
Hey, okay, Adventist, Methodist, everything, all countries. He's gathered us from these countries. Read.
And will bring you into your own land.
And here we are in our own land. Is that the physical room here? No, it's where you are here. It's where you are in your heart. It's where you are in your soul, in your understanding. That's your own land. Right. That's your land. Read.
Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you.
Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you. The clean water, that's not water baptism he's talking about. He's talking about the truth. And unfortunately, we don't have time to break down all these things. See, that's a 2-hour lecture just talking about the water. Okay. He talks to the woman there in the 4th chapter of John, at the Samaritan woman at the well, and he tells her they're drawing water out of the well. See, and he tells her, "You drink of this water," himself, "and you will never thirst again." This water. In other words, his words, the words he speaks, the truth, the gospel. That's what it's talking about here. Read.
Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean.
And that's what's going to clean us up. Not on the outside, on the inside. Oh, Jesus Christ, boom! There goes that. Trinity, boom! There goes that. That's cleaning you up. Jesus was instituting a way of life. Boom! There goes that. One by one, as we come to class and we learn the truth, that stuff is getting expelled from us. You understand? It's cleaning us up. Read.
From all your filthiness and from all your idols will I cleanse you.
Some of us had a few strange idols in our past. Just a few. Read, please.
A new heart will I give you.
Now a new heart will I give you. A new heart. See this right here? This is a new heart. There's nothing physical about it. It's a spiritual heart. It's a new soul. It's a soul that's been converted. It's a soul that's undergone metamorphosis. It's a soul that's undergone tremendous change. Right in your very soul. Right in your very being. That's where he's given you that new heart. Read, please.
And a new spirit will I put within you.
A new spirit will I put within you. Read.
And I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh.
Stony heart. They had a stony heart. Oh, that they had such a heart in them. They had a hard heart, a cold heart, a stony heart, an unfeeling heart. It's going to give you a new heart. It's a warm heart. It can feel, and it can hear, and it can understand. That's a new heart. That's what that will do for you. Read.
And I will give you a heart of flesh, and I will put my spirit within you.
And I will put my spirit right within you. See, this is just broken right down for us. And of course, unless he reveals it to you, you're just reading over the words. You understand? Just reading over the words. Which I didn't even bother trying to read the words before I came into class. When I first came to class and they told me that the thing you should do first is read the book of Exodus, I went and bought the novel by Leon Uris. I didn't know what Exodus was. They didn't encourage us in Roman Catholicism to read the Bible. Everything was about what they taught, about catechism, about the sacraments, about keeping your first communion, about your confirmation, about, you understand? Nothing about the Bible or the law and the prophets. Nothing. Read.
I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes.
And I will cause you to walk in my statutes. Now, go back to 1 John and reread that 3rd verse. I think we were on the third verse.
1 John 5 and 3. For this is the, well, we were on 2. By this we know that we love the children of Yahweh when we love Yahweh and keep his commandments.
And keep his commandments. Now we're able to keep his command. This is written after Pentecost. This is written after the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. It's important to understand what things are written when. Some things apply here. Some things apply here. This is where you are here. And if you're doing things that are back here, you're not acting your age. Read, please.
For this is the love of Yahweh, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous.
That we keep his commandments. And we just read over in Ezekiel, he said he would what? Cause us to walk in his statutes. So how do we keep his commandments in this covenant? He's causing us to walk in his statutes. He's causing us to keep his commandments. He's causing us to walk in his commandments. He's doing it. That's what's beautiful about the new covenant. That's what's liberating about the new covenant. That's what makes you free. That's what makes you free. You don't have to do anything. You let Yahshua just take care of everything. He can do a way better job than you can. Now, I want to segue to another thing here. See this? I was showing this to Chuck, this article that I was reading on the way here on the airplane. Pastors struggle with burnout.
With what?
Burnout. Half have considered quitting. They're burnt out. And you could do a whole lecture just on this, but there's some really, this is something. A whole bunch of them. This isn't just a few pastors. There's a whole bunch of them. Now, I think it's Luke, the last chapter, the last couple of verses. When you get older, you start forgetting where things are.
Luke 24 and 49. And behold, I send.
No?
No. Thus it is written.
Maybe not Luke. Maybe Matthew?
What are you looking for?
Go ye therefore. The commission. Matthew? Okay.
Matthew 28 and 16.
Now Matthew 28 and 16.
Yeah, I'll pick it up there. Or I'll just skip down to 19 or 18. Matthew 26 and 18.
Okay.
And Yahshua came and spake unto them, saying, All power is given unto me in heaven and in earth.
Now Yahshua is telling his disciples, right? All power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. Read.
Go ye therefore.
Go ye therefore. Listen. Go ye therefore.
And teach all nations.
And teach all nations.
Baptizing
Baptizing
them in the name.
in water.
The name.
In the name.
of the
In the
Father,
name. When I came to class 47 years ago, my wife and I came together. She wasn't my wife then, but we came together, and the first thing we learned was that name. First thing. And it wasn't my intention to be down there.
That's right.
It's another long story, but we all get in here the way that Joshua brings us. However that road may be. Go ye therefore, read,
and teach all nations,
and teach all nations,
baptizing them in the name
baptizing or immersing them in the name
of the Father
of the Father,
and of the Son
Yahweh, Yahweh Elohim. Read,
and of the Holy Spirit.
Joshua. Immerse them in those names until you get burnout. It doesn't say anything about that in here. What's this burnout nonsense? It's nonsense. And I would like to share with you what's going on over there with Israel and Hamas. I would like to touch on that. It's been a while now since Hamas went over the border there and committed acts of terrorism in Israel. And they did some pretty deplorable things. And Israel was caught off guard. See, that's a point. There's a point there. You don't want to be caught off guard. You want to get your witnesses. You want to know for yourself. You don't want to take any man or woman's word for anything. You want to check things. You want to research and research and research again things for yourself. They were caught off guard. And all of us, in one way or another, have seen people that we grew up with in this teaching leave. Gone. And this whole thing came down to a giant test of whether you were going to believe in what you had learned since the time you were a baby, the law and the prophets, and the name of Yahshua, or whether you were going to follow after a man. That's what this all came down to. And the vast majority of people in this school followed after a man. And I never thought I would see that. I never thought I would see it happen in New York. And it did. And I never thought I would see it happen in the country. And it did. Oh, goodness. These people, some of these people, I was very close to. We were brothers. We were sisters. We went to conventions with them. We roomed with them. We went out to eat with them. We stayed at their houses. We sat next to them in class. And then they weren't there. Just that fast that happened. Do Do you understand what I'm saying? And you never thought that you would see that.
No.
The point is, we were brothers. And then we weren't. And we teach things now that are so different, so off the wall. And every time I hear something that comes down the pike that is so bizarre to me, I think, it can't get any stranger than that. It does. It's like if you were trying to think of something this strange, to write a novel and make money, you could never think of this stuff. You could never make it up. And yet it's taught, and I've been to these classes where people sit there and they don't even look in their books. These are decorations. They don't turn around and use them. This is the founder's vision. And they don't use it. The law and the prophets is just antiquated stuff to them. It's old-fashioned. It's unnecessary. The law and the prophets has become Dr. Harris and Aaron Bryan. I know I'm putting names there, but listen, that's what they teach. You never thought you would see that. Now here Israel, me and Peg, we were in Springfield not long ago. Some of you were there. And we got up Saturday morning and Israel had invaded Gaza. Okay? Gaza's been around a long, long time. When Samson brought those pillars down, maybe we could get that reference. I'm not sure where it is. It's is it in Judges? Yes, Judges 16. And we'll start reading in 23. Now let me give you a little background here. And we're we're straying off the point here a little bit, but we'll get back to it. Samson, he gets seduced by a woman. Her name is Delilah. And she convinces him to cut off his hair. His hair is the source of his strength because he had taken the vow of the Nazarene. Okay? And so anyway, the Philistines, who were perpetual enemies of the Israelites, David was always fighting against them, you know. And this is in the time of the judges, before kings. They take him into the main city here in Gaza, and this is in Gaza, where all this stuff is going on right now, in Gaza. And this is a long time ago. Boy, what's the date? Oh, it's at least 1,000 years before the Messiah, you know.
1080 BC.
Okay, 1080, good. They take him to the temple of Dagon. Dagon was a main god, D-A-G-O-N, okay? And if you ever want to see a picture of Dagon, do some research, and you can see a picture of him, and he's got a head that looks like a fish with the mouth open, which is where the bishops get their idea for the bishop's mitre, okay, that they wear. But they bring him to this temple, and he's blind. And they put him between two pillars. And there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people there. And they're partying. And they're celebrating their victory over this guy because he had killed a lot of these Philistines, okay? And he prays to Yahweh. He prays to him, just give me back my strength one last time. And he gives it to him, and he takes these two pillars and brings them down, and brings down the whole house, and kills all of these people there. Now, what's the point? The point is this is taking place in Gaza. Does history repeat itself? History repeats itself. Now, I want to go over to boy, 1 Samuel. I got papers all over my book. They're always falling out and everything. And this is 1 Samuel, and we're going to pick it up in 30. 1 Samuel 30, and we'll start reading right in 1. And we'll jump around a little bit in here so we can expedite time.
1 Samuel 30 and 1. And it came to pass, when David and his men were come to Ziklag on the third day, that the Amalekites
Yes.
had invaded the south, and Ziklag, and smitten Ziklag, and burned it with fire.
Now they had gone into Israel, and they had gone into this place called Ziklag. Don't ask me exactly where it is. I don't know. I do know that they had gone into part of Israel and burned it with fire, and they had smitten it. Okay? And these are the Amalekites. Now the Amalekites, Amalek, were named after Amalek. Amalek was a grandson of Esau. I could see people starting to fall asleep. All right, we're going to hold this here. We're going to hold this here because we're setting up a principle, okay? We're setting up a principle. And the principle is, you can go all the way back. We don't have it on this chart. It's on the 40-foot chart or 40-plate chart, okay? You got Cain and Abel. Cain and Abel. They were brothers. What happened? One of them killed the other. They were brothers. Now this principle is going to go down through the law and the prophets. And here we're going to pick the principle up. We're going to pick it up. We're going to go back to Jacob and Esau. Okay? Who were
Brothers.
They were brothers. They were twins.
Yeah.
They come out of the womb at the same time. And their father was Isaac. And he was supposed to bless the elder. But there was something that went on there, okay, and he ended up blessing who?
Jacob.
Jacob, whose name later becomes Israel. So Jacob is the child of promise. And Esau he still has an inheritance. But it's not as the child of promise. You follow? And you can pick up that the Ishmaelites, it was Isaac and Ishmael had an inheritance, and he was, oh my goodness, this was with Abraham, okay? And the Arabs come from Ishmael, but the Israelites come from Isaac. And you could trace these things all the way back. And every time you do, you're going to find that there's enmity between these brothers. Enmity. And oftentimes, hatred. Now, we're going to pick up Hebrews. It's in Hebrews. It's in Hebrews 12. All of a sudden I can't find it. Hebrews 12. Hebrews 12, and pick it up in 14. And read down to 17, please.
Hebrews 12 and 14. Follow peace with all men.
Follow peace with all men, as much as is possible. Okay. Some men you're just not going to be able to follow peace with, but follow peace. And not only that, but it says love your neighbor as yourself. Who's your neighbor? Somebody that sits next to you?
No.
Somebody that lives next to you? Your neighbor is your brother or your sister in the faith. That's your neighbor. And that, I'm sorry, that requires more explanation, but we got to move along here. Now, we're in
Hebrews 12
Hebrews, thank you.
14. Follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see Yahweh.
Without which no man shall see Yahweh. And this is tying right in with your scripture reading there. But read, please.
Looking diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of Yahweh.
Lest any man fail of the grace of Yahweh. And these words like grace, we throw around and everything, and you really need to break them down, because this whole covenant that you're in is by grace. This, where'd it go? It was just, there it is. This whole covenant. In this age, this spiritual kingdom on earth, this present kingdom age, this is an age of grace, an age of faith, and not of works. Not of works. Hold it there. I gotta go to, I gotta pick it up in Ephesians, the 2nd chapter. Start reading right in 1. This whole chapter's loaded, but we're going to just treat it very cursorily.
Ephesians 2 and 1. And you hath he quickened.
And you, who's you?
Us.
Who's you?
Us.
It's us.
Who were dead in
And look, there's people that teach there is no you. Well, somebody should have straightened Paul out about that. and you hath he quickened, or made alive. We came to class, our soul was dead. Why? Because we didn't know Yahweh and we didn't know Yahshua. Adam died. Where? In his soul. He died in his soul. He received a condemned conscience. And he died in his soul. So this plate right below it. The man has to be made alive. Where? In his soul. It's just that simple. In his soul. He died in his soul. He's made alive in his soul. And that's where he's quickened us. In our souls. Hey, the name's Joshua. Did you know that? Whoa. Never heard such stuff. Never. They don't teach this. They don't teach this in college. Read.
And you hath he quickened, who were dead in trespasses and sins, wherein in time past ye walked according to the course of this world.
We walked according to the course of this world. That's where we didn't know how to walk any other way. Read.
According to the prince of the power of the air.
Now who's that? That's the devil. He's the prince of the power of the air. Read.
The spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience.
Read.
Among whom also we all had our conversation in times past.
This our manner of life in times past
In the lust of our flesh.
was with that devil. Was with that devil. Read.
Fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature the children of wrath,
And we read, please.
even as others. But Yahweh, who is rich in mercy,
But Yahweh, who is rich in mercy. And look, Proverbs 16:6 says, by mercy and truth, iniquity is purged. And this high priest went up here on the Day of Atonement, and he's got Israel up there on his chest, and he's got the pomegranates on his hem, which represents the Gentiles. He's got the Jew and the Gentile, and there's angels all over up in here, embroidered on these veils up in here. And Freddie Allen asked Dr. Kinley, we know how many were on the vertical veils. And Freddie Allen asked the founder, how many were in the ceiling? And the founder said, a whole bunch. So he took the physical and the heavenly in a type. That's Yahshua, taking us and taking the heavenly before the Father. Read, please.
but Yahweh, who is rich in mercy,
And mercy. And look, where's he sitting? On the mercy seat. And he's the truth. It's the truth, and he's on the mercy seat. By iniquity is purged. And every year they came out and blew those shofars, showing that what? Iniquity had been purged. Right? Right, Joel?
That's right.
Read, please.
but Yahweh, who is rich in mercy, for his great love wherewith he loved us, even when we were dead in sins, hath quickened us together
hath quickened us together, even when we were dead in sins. Hath quickened us. Hath quickened us. Read.
together with Yahshua.
Together with Yahshua. We're heirs and co-heirs. It's over there in Romans or I don't remember, but go ahead and read.
By grace ye are saved.
By grace you are saved. This grace is so paramount in this covenant. It's by grace we are saved, not by works. Read,
And
please.
hath raised us up together and made us sit together in heavenly places in Yahshua the
In
Messiah,
Yahshua the Messiah, read.
that in the ages to come he might show the exceeding riches of his grace in his kindness toward us through Yahshua the Messiah. For by grace are ye saved
For by grace are ye saved.
through faith,
He is emphasizing this. Through faith. Read.
and that not of yourself.
Not of yourselves. I'm sorry. There's nothing you're doing. There's nothing you're doing.
It is the gift of Yahweh.
It is the gift of Yahweh. And it's unmerited and it's a gift.
Not of works,
Not of works,
lest any man should boast.
lest any man should boast.
For we are his
Listen,
workmanship,
you know how it is. Well, I went to class 4 times this week. How many times did you go? That's you know how people are. Not by works, lest any man should boast. He knows, Paul knows exactly what he's saying when he writes these words down. And I'll tell you something else. If you go back to the law and the prophets, you'll see exactly where Paul's coming from. And when you see that what he's writing is based in the law and the prophets, it makes it easy to interpret what he's saying. And then he's not hard to be understood. Not hard. Same as the book of Revelation. But I think that's good for what we want now. Thank you. Now, we got to get back to where we were way back there in Samuel.
Samuel, Hebrews. You were in Hebrews 12.
Oh, Hebrews, I'm sorry.
Hebrews 12 and 14.
Yes.
Hebrews 12 and 14. Follow peace with all men, and holiness, without which no man shall see Yahweh. Looking diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of Yahweh, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you.
Lest any man, look. Be mindful of roots of bitterness. The devil's going to try to put them in every class. That's just how he operates. That's just the way he's going to try to function and sow discord. That's his job. And he's good at it. He's a good devil. Read, please.
And thereby many be defiled.
And many will be defiled. Read.
Lest there be any fornicator or profane person, as Esau,
As Esau. Now he's talking about Esau. Here's Paul. And where's he go? Back to the law. As Esau.
who for one morsel
One morsel
of meat
of meat
sold his birthright.
sold his soul. Now, he did it for his morsel of meat, but think, it could be anything. And there are people in this school who have sold their birthright, sold their soul, so that they would be one of the crowd, or be somebody in the IGMR, or have power, or be whatever it might be. That's selling your soul for a morsel of flesh. He's warning against it. Read.
For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing,
And when afterwards, when he would have inherited the blessing,
he was rejected.
he was rejected. Listen, he was rejected. Read.
For he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears.
So he cried and sought it with tears. Rejected. I'm telling you. So now we got to go back to Genesis, and we're going to do some reading here. It's the 25th chapter of Genesis. I hope this isn't becoming too tedious for anyone, but okay, let's see, 25 and pick it up in 19.
Genesis 25 and 19. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Pandam Aram, the sister of Laban in Saran. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife, because she was barren. And Yahweh was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived.
And she conceived. There's, you can run down barren women all down through the law and the prophets who end up conceiving. It's a pretty principle. Look, we were barren. We were barren. And a lot of us have been fruitful and multiplied. He wants you to be fruitful and multiplied. Read, please. Look. He created Yahweh Elohim, and you see, he was fruitful and multiplied. Yahweh Elohim, he's fruitful and multiplies. And he creates Adam and tells him, be fruitful and multiply, right? And all the generations of men and women come forth from Adam and Eve. And now, here's Joshua, fruitful and multiplied. On the day of Pentecost, that Holy Spirit being poured out and put in mankind, and they go out and preach the gospel to all nations, and people are fruitful and multiplied. And now you, through Zoom and through live classes, are being fruitful and multiplying. All the way from the beginning, all the way down to now. Pretty principle. Read, please.
And the children struggled within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb.
2 nations are in thy womb.
And 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger.
And the elder, which is Esau, shall serve the younger. Who is Jacob? You understand? Read.
And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there was twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. And the boys grew, and Esau was a skillful hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a quiet man dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob.
She loved Jacob, and that. Go ahead and read.
And Jacob boiled pottage, and Esau came from the field and he was faint.
He was faint. He comes in from the field and he's faint. Read.
And Esau said to Jacob, Let me swallow down, I pray thee, some of that red pottage, for I am faint.
Let me have some of your pottage, because I'm faint. Read.
Therefore was his name called Edom.
Edom. See, his descendants were called Edom. And there was a country next to Israel called Edom. E-D-O-M. And later on down the line, when Israel was coming up in crossing the Jordan, they wanted to cross through Edom, who were their brothers, and Edom refused them passage. So Yahweh always hated Esau, and he always hated Edom, all down through your book. Read it and check it and see if you can find any passage where Yahweh loved Esau or Edom or Mount Seir, they're also known as. Read, please.
And Esau said, Behold, I am going to die.
I'm going to die. Read.
And what profit shall this birthright do to me?
And what good is this birthright to me if I die?
I'm sorry, I skipped 31.
That's okay, read. Oh, is it important?
Yes.
Oh.
31. And Jacob said, Sell me this day thy birthright.
Oh, sell me your birthright. Jacob said, sell me your birthright. Read.
And Esau said, Behold, I am going to die. And what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, Swear to me this day. And he sware unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob.
And he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Now you read the rest of it when you have an opportunity. Check it for yourself, okay? The point is, here you had twins. And Esau down the line ends up hating Jacob, okay? And many, many years later, they end up reconciling, but it's many, many, many years later. And you've got this going on all down through the law and the prophecy, where brother is pitted against brother. Now here comes Joshua, and Joshua, he has to fulfill. Is that right? Mm-hmm. We all know he has to fulfill. Let's just get one reference. Luke 24. Pick it up in 25.
Luke 24 and 25. Then he said unto them, O fools and slow of heart.
Now this is picking this up right here. See these two guys walking right here? These are two guys walking on the road to Emmaus. And you see the woman clothed in the sun is over their head, showing that they're going to receive of that Holy Spirit. And there's the dragon waiting to devour her offspring as soon as it's born, as it says in the 12th chapter of Revelation. Go ahead and read.
O fools and slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken.
Now he's calling them fool. See, they're bummed out because Joshua's gone and they're depressed. And he says to them, O fools and slow of heart to believe all that the law and the prophets had said. The law and prophets dictated that I had to die and be buried and resurrected. And y'all know this. Read, please.
Ought not the Messiah to have suffered these things and to enter into his glory? And beginning at Moses.
Oh, beginning at the book of Revelation.
Moses.
Beginning at the Gospel of Luke. The Gospel of Matthew. Okay, first of all, they're not Gospels.
Right.
And that's not where he began, because when he walked around and taught, those books weren't written yet.
Right.
They were not written yet. He taught from the law and the prophets. And Paul taught from the law and the prophets. Here we are again, over here. At the beginning of this age, Paul, every time he taught from the law and the prophets. And he used the name of Yahshua the Messiah. I have to get an example. Let's go to Acts the 17th chapter and start reading in 1, please. You know, when they went to Diana of the Ephesians later on, he went to one of those synagogues and taught for a year and a half in there. Year and a half. Using the law and the prophets. Read.
Acts 17:1. Now when they had passed through
That's okay, don't worry about the names.
in Apollonia, they came to Thessalonica, where the synagogue of the Jews. And Saul, as the manner was, went
And this was Saul's manner. This is what he was accustomed to doing. Read.
And Saul, as his manner was, went in unto them, and the Sabbath days reasoned with them out of the scriptures.
And he reasoned with them out of the
And 3 Sabbath
scriptures,
days.
the law and the prophets. Oh, did we end up finishing? Luke?
No.
Oh, we got to go back there. I'm sorry. We got to go back to Luke. We didn't finish it.
No, that's okay. I thought you were going back and forth. Luke 24 and 26, I'll pick up. Ought not the Messiah to have suffered these things and to enter into his glory?
Yes.
And beginning at Moses.
Now, he began at Moses. The Messiah began at Moses. And yet people will tell you it's not important to begin at Moses. They know more than the Messiah. Isn't that something? That puts them on a level that is really up there. Read, please.
All the prophets he expounded unto them in all the scriptures the things concerning himself.
In all the scriptures, the things concerning himself. So here he is. He's from the tribe of Judah. What tribe is Judas from? The tribe of Judah. Judas was his brother. Right or wrong? From the same tribe. What does he do? He betrays him. That's a fulfillment of all those brothers not getting along all the way down, all down through history. Just a fulfillment, you see? Now, we'll go back to where you were, Cynthia.
Okay. Acts 17, and I'll start at 1 again. Now when they had passed through Apollonica and came to Thessalonica, where the synagogue of the Jews, and Saul, as his manner was, went in unto them, and 3 Sabbath days reasoned with them out of the scriptures.
See, Paul went to all these places. He went to Thessalonica. He went to Ephesus. He went to Galatia. He went to Corinth. He went to all these places, and things that went on there caused him, when he went back to Jerusalem, to write these epistles to them, to admonish them about various things. such as, O foolish Galatians, who hath bewitched you? Having begun in the Spirit, are you now made perfect by works? You understand? He's always doing that. He was always doing that. Read, please.
Opening and alleging that the Messiah must needs have suffered and risen again from the dead, and that this Joshua said, whom I preach unto you is the Messiah.
Now, Paul is just teaching the death, burial, and resurrection of Yahshua the Messiah. You understand? Teaching, he's using the name, and he's using the law and the prophets. Read.
And some of them believed
And some of them believed.
and consorted with Saul and Silas, and of the devout Greeks a great multitude, and of a chief woman not a few. But the Jews which believed not,
But the Jews that believed not,
moved to envy,
oh, they got a little upset. Read.
took unto them certain lewd fellows
They took unto them certain lewd fellows
of the baser sort,
of the baser sort. What's that mean?
low life,
Thugs.
Baser sort doesn't mean they were playing baseball. Read, please.
and gathered a company and set all the city on an uproar,
And they sent the whole city on an uproar.
and assaulted the house of Jason, and sought to bring them out.
They assaulted the house. They wanted to yank Paul, yank him out of there, and take him and. Yeah, you understand? People tried to kill him. They put him in prison. They beat him up. They did all kinds of stuff to him. Why? What did he do? Was he going up and down the street acting all obnoxious, spitting and stomping? What was he doing?
Telling the truth.
Telling the truth. Telling the truth. You want people to not like you? Tell them the truth. That's all you need to do. Read. Look, because he's doing that at the beginning of the age, you better be telling the truth at the end of the age. You better be doing what Yahshua did. You better be doing what the founder did. You better be doing what Paul did at the end of the age, because that's what was going on at the beginning of the age. If you want the end to be declared from the beginning, or you could try teaching something different. Read, please.
And when they found them not, they drew Jason and certain brethren unto the rulers of the city, crying, These that have turned the world upside down,
These
or
people have turned the world, what?
upside down,
Upside down.
or come hither also.
They accused Paul and his group of turning the world upside down. And you've heard it said that this teaching is revolutionary. It is revolutionary. So now we've done all that, and we're going to get back to Ziklag, which was in
Yeah. First
Oh, yeah.
1 Samuel 30th chapter, right? Okay. I know I tried to touch on a lot of different things, you know, but
Oh, 1 Samuel 30, and you want to pick it back up at...
sure.
And it came to pass, when David and his men were come to Ziklag on the third day, that the Amalekites had invaded the south.
Now the Amalekites, we did all that with Esau because Amalek, or the Amalekites, are descendants of Esau. Do you understand? And this is what they did. They went in there
And invaded the south.
and they invaded the south of Israel.
And
Read.
Ziklag and Ziklag, and smitten Ziklag, and burned it with fire.
Burned it with fire. Did those terrorists burn stuff with fire? Read.
And had taken the women captives.
And took women captive. Did they take captive? Did they still have hostages in there? Read, please.
They slew not any, either great or small, but carried them away and went on their way.
They went on their way.
So David and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burned with fire, and their wives and their sons and their daughters were taken captives. Then David and the people that were with him lifted up their voice and wept until they had no more power to weep. And David's 2 wives were taken captives.
David's 2 wives were taken captive. Read.
And David was greatly distressed.
Where are we now? 1 Samuel 30?
Yeah, 30 and 6.
Okay.
And David was greatly distressed, for the people spake of stoning him, because the soul of all the people was grieved, every man for his sons and for his daughters. But David encouraged himself in Yahweh his Eloah.
All right, now read 8 and then go down and read 16.
And David inquired at Yahweh, saying, Shall I pursue after this troop?
He asks Yahweh if he should pursue after them. Read.
And shall I overtake them? And he answered him, Pursue, for thou shalt surely overtake them, and without fail recover all.
And you'll recover everything. Now keep in mind, what is going on now over there is a repetition of what went on back here. It's a repetition. Although Netanyahu's getting a little carried away. Netanyahu is no David.
No.
He is not a David. But I'm trying to get you to see a principle, how history repeats itself. All right, now go down to 16 and then read 18 and then 22.
16, and when he had brought him down, behold, they were spread abroad upon all the earth.
There's the Amalekites. They're spread across the earth like locusts. See, read.
Eating and drinking and dancing.
They are partying. They're partying. Read.
Because of all the great spoil that they had taken out of the land of the Philistines and out of the land of Judah.
Read. They took it out of Judah. Right out of Judah. Read.
And 18, and David recovered, or do you want 17? And David smote them from the twilight even unto the
They smote them.
of the next day, and there escaped not a man of them save 400 men, which rode upon camels and fled.
They smote them.
And David recovered all that the Amalekites had carried away, and David rescued his 2 wives.
Then, let's see, I want you to, let's see, wait, no. Well, that's good, that's okay. I just wanted you to see that history repeats itself. That he went in there and smote them for what they had done and gone in there and what they had done to Israel, and they had gone right in there to Judah and what they had done. And Amalek was a descendant of Esau, and Esau was Jacob's twin brother. They were brothers. They were brothers. And they went in there and did this. The Arabs and the Jews are brothers. They both came forth from Abraham. And look what they're doing. So it's just showing you something going on in current events that has just repeated down through the law and the prophets, and it's just the same this very night. And my heart goes out to those, so like 25,000 people now that have been killed in Gaza, you know? And going after Hamas and wanting to eradicate them and smiting them, I completely and fully understand. Killing innocent people, I don't understand. But this is Yahweh Elohim's purpose. And he's just trying to show you something. And these babies that are dying, and some of these kids that are dying, you know, they haven't reached an age of accountability, and they're not going to be held accountable. And they're going to be okay. Their souls are going to be okay. You don't have to worry about them. Worry about your own. Your hands will be full, I promise you. Now, let's just get, let's just get Romans 8 chapter and we'll be done, you know. You know, tonight we have had something about covenants. We have had a little bit of history. We have had a little bit of current events. We have had a little bit of this and a little bit of all kinds of stuff, and tried to tie it all together and do something in a way that would be edifying for you. I want people to be edified. That's all I want, is for you to be edified. When you are edified, Yahweh is glorified. Yahshua is glorified. And that's what's important. Romans 8 and 1, please.
Romans 8 and 1. There is therefore now.
Now there is therefore, here's another 3-letter word. Not a 4-letter word, a 3-letter word. We had not a while ago. Now we got now. What do you mean now? If you read the 7th chapter, Paul is talking about himself in a previous lifetime, when he knew how he was supposed to act and he just couldn't do it. He just couldn't do, oh, that there was such a heart in him. Do you understand? Until he had that vision and revelation on the road to Damascus, and his life was forever changed. And it's like Dr. Kinley told his wife, I will never more, what?
Be the same.
Be the same. Yeah. And you will never more be the same. You will never more be the same. There is therefore, now when he's writing this, he's saying, there is therefore, this is a continuation. And he's saying, there is therefore now. Now meaning since Pentecost. Since the day of Pentecost. Since the outpouring of the Holy Spirit upon mankind. Permanently. For the first time in history. First time in history ever. There is therefore now. And if you read this, you'll see the chronology on it. It's after Pentecost. It's after the day of Pentecost. Read, please.
There is therefore now no condemnation.
There is now no condemnation. No. Look, that Catholic Church, we walked around all the time. They constantly had us in a state of condemnation. you went to confession, but then you came out of confession and you had a dirty thought. So now you got to go back to confession. But well, you understand? It was just constantly you felt guilty, guilty, guilty. But now, there is therefore now no condemnation. Read.
To them which are in Yahshua the Messiah.
To them which are in Yahshua the Messiah. To them which are in Yahshua. To them which are in Yahshua the Messiah. This is so powerful, this sentence right here, to me. Read.
Who walk not after the flesh,
Who walk not after the flesh,
but after the Spirit.
but after the Spirit.
For the law of the Spirit of life
For the law of the Spirit of life
in Yahshua the Messiah
in Yahshua the Messiah
had made me free
had made all of us free.
from the law of sin
Made
and death.
us, not set us, made us free
From the law of sin and death.
from the law of sin and death. I don't walk around like that anymore. I don't walk around with condemnation of many. This is liberating to be in this teaching and to understand it the way it's supposed to be understood. It is liberating. And Yahshua means Yahweh is liberation, freedom, salvation. So hallelujah. I hope that someone was edified, and I'll turn it back over to the moderator. Oh, the mic. Oh, I wanted to take it home with me.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming to class and welcome you back. We have classes. We have classes here at in Tampa on Brittany Way, 9036 Brittany Way in Tampa. On Friday nights, tonight is 7:30 to 9:30, and on Sundays from 11 to 1. We also have a Zoom class. You can join us on Wednesday nights for that, and that is from 7 to 9 p.m. And contact one of us, and we'll give you the link. So let's all rise and be dismissed with a doxology. Now unto him who is able to keep you from falling and to present you faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding joy, to the only wise Elohim, our Savior, through Yahshua the Messiah, our Sovereign, belong glory and majesty, dominion and power, both before all time and now and ever. Let's all say together, Hallelujah.